Hi, I'm Tugi and today I'm taking you to an emotional journey and, by the way, my trip to New Zealand. This is not just a vlog about my journey, it's a little story about my life. Maybe one or the other finds himself in a similar situation and can learn something from it. But let's start at the beginning. I'm in my mid-20s, I have the perfect life. I have a great job, a great apartment, a wonderful partner, and 2 cats. I kept setting goals since I finished my high school and now I achieved everything. But suddenly I started to struggle mentally. I didn't know why. I got panic attacks every day, a depression overcame me, and the darkest thoughts followed. Thank God I had good people surrounding me and professional help. Thanks, Johnny. Okay, my cat Johnny is joining us today. After a year, I was able to define why I had got into this situation. For years, I was chasing goals of other people and ignored my own needs. I kind of deceived myself. So now I decided to listen to my own needs, give up everything and go on a journey. And this journey was New Zealand. But well, let's start the journey now. In this video I want to talk about my emotions during my journey. But first let me tell you something about myself. Basically I would describe me as a positive and fun-loving person. At the same time I would describe me as really emotional. While other people have normal, good or bad days, it's usually a bit more extreme for me. But more about this later. I really like to interact with people. I would consider this social aspect as my greatest trait. That's why I thought it would be a great idea to start my trip in a hostel in Auckland. My plan was to have no plan and go with the flow. I just wanted to meet other backpackers and see what would happen. For the first time in my life I was living this way and it scared the hell out of me. I was completely stiff and I felt weird while I was talking to other people. Even though I met so many nice people in the first days, I felt like I was failing. My mood was weird too. I was switching from being anxious and sad to strong happiness. Already on the second evening I met the wonderful Fabienne. It turned out that she had, just like me, no fixed plans and we considered together a short road trip. We spent the next few days together in Auckland and I felt really good. We prepared our road trip, met many new people and had a really nice party at the end. Also now going on a road trip with Fabienne, who I didn't really know yet. My journey should begin now.
Hello.
Hello.
Where are we going?
Waipu?
And we are traveling with a camper van. And
Really excited to get outside the city finally on our first road trip. Just making his first kilometers,
Yay.
driving on the left side, sitting on the right side.
it's kind of scary, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So we made it. We made it to the camping spot. Over there's the sea. I will just have my tent over here. This is Fabienne's car. Really good. First day of good weather when we are going camping, so everything's cool.
Fabienne had bought a camper van and we could enjoy complete freedom. We drove from campsite to campsite and decided every day spontaneously where we stayed. Since it was so warm, it felt like a summer vacation, but without a deadline where it goes back home to your old life. We traveled the Northland, which is north of Auckland. On our route, we met Ashley and Bennett, whom we had also met in Auckland.
So you are our guide today?
I'm the guide.
Yes, nice, thank you.
It felt refreshing to live the simple life outside. Simple things like throwing stones or playing cards made me to the happiest person in the world.
We call it shithead.
They call it shit dick.
Shit dick and shit
And what
head.
are you?
We enjoyed the wonderful nature of New Zealand, breathtaking and empty beaches, 2 meeting oceans, waterfalls everywhere, huge sand dunes,
What did you say there? Bye, it was nice to meet you. Woo! Just eating some sand for breakfast. Woo! He didn't die.
Virgin forests,
Look at this tree.
and so much more.
Explain what we're going to do in the dark in the middle of the forest.
You're looking for kiwis. They are like this size.
Okay.
They are brown and fluffy. And they are just making noises like old door.
I was so excited and I forgot totally that this was just the beginning of my whole trip.
10 points.
But every high also has its low. During the wonderful summer days, a feeling of anxiety kept creeping up on me. At first, I didn't know what was going on because everything was so nice. But after a few long conversations with Fabienne, I finally understood myself. I realized that this road trip has an end at some point and I need a plan for afterwards. I am apparently not a person for this complete lack of plan, and this triggered in me great fears. Because Fabienne wanted to stay in Auckland after our trip, I had to think about how to continue. To counter my fears, I made the following plan. First, buy a car in Auckland as soon as we are back. Second, discover New Zealand on this way for several months. And third, work somewhere I liked on the trip. I realized how important it was to me to be independent of other people. That's why I figured out this plan. It was time to say goodbye and end this chapter of my life. It was sad, but I was happy that I met those great people. Thank you, Ashley, thank you, Bennett, and thank you really much, Fabienne. Back in Auckland, I was looking for a car. The only problem is, I have no idea about cars. After almost getting scammed 2 times, I had decided on the cheapest option and bought an old Suzuki. This time I found Michael and Manon via Facebook, who wanted to join me on my road trip. I have no idea why people still use Facebook in New Zealand, but anyway.
So, I've got my car and I have some travel buddies. Hello. Hello. The car's full. Nice.
In this road trip, I had planned to camp outside all the time, visit cool places, and do some real hiking for the first time in my life. But first of all, we had to visit the wonderful Hobbiton.
What is going on? Yes.
Right after we left this magical place, the first night showed me another beautiful side of New Zealand. It was so nice. We spent the night with some local Kiwis at the campfire, and then the next morning they just invited us for a boat trip.
How are you feeling, Michael?
I'm ready for the adventure.
Okay, I'm just driving a boat. What is happening? You're so excited.
Shower.
Crazy, right? It sounds unreal when I talk about things like blue rivers, geothermal activities, warm waterfalls, or an impressive culture of Maoris.
So crazy. It's just fucking blue. Look at this one. What the fuck? It smells so good. Tasty.
It was a nice feeling to travel with a group in a small car. Don't get me wrong, it was a good and intense time with Fabienne. But spending a lot of time in a small space with 2 other people feels a little bit more interactive. Especially Michael was an outgoing and extrovert character. I should learn something really important from him. You should be yourself, the way you like yourself best. If you have this, you will inspire other people and you will have a good time. We spent more days in wonderful campsites, and before the big day started, we recharged with Maori energy. Today was the big day. I've got a mustache. Okay, let's be serious again. I had no specific plans for New Zealand, but I really wanted to do this hike. I'm talking about the one and only Tongariro Alpine Crossing. A nearly 20-kilometer trek across a volcanic alpine landscape, which is located in the Tongariro National Park, New Zealand's oldest national park. For Manon and me, it was one of the first big hikes in our lives, while Michael, with a little experience, took up the role of a serious guide.
It is 8:30. He's eating his lunch.
As we make our way to Mordor, darkness in our hearts.
There are orcs everywhere. It's dangerous over here. Every second it could happen that we just die. Oh my gosh!
The weather in New Zealand is crazy unpredictable, but we still waited for the best day and started in the rain anyway. That's the classic New Zealand experience. So the first kilometers were wet and windy. Some people turned around at some point because it was obviously too windy on the summit. Thanks to a professional guide, we took a break for almost 1 hour to wait out the weather, and suddenly the sky cleared up. I was so happy that the sun was shining. It felt like we were on Mars. You probably know Mount Doom from Lord of the Rings. We were just next to it. I can understand why people say this is probably one of the best day hikes in the world. It feels rewarding to climb all the rocks, get out of your comfort zone, and enjoy the wonderful nature. Once at the top, with the amazing view, the most difficult part, the downhill part, was still waiting for us. I had watched people try to go down slowly and slip. I decided to just run down. There you have less time to fall.
Okay, I'm confident. This one is so much fun. What the fuck? It's like 2 hours left, but actually we made it. This one over there is the gravel road. We have to walk all this way. Best hike ever.
After almost 20 kilometers, we were all completely exhausted, but happy. It was a mind-blowing day, and this hiking experience hooked me so much, I was ready for the next adventure. So we continued the road trip and drove from place to place. New Zealand has so many beautiful sights that I can't even capture on camera. On the way, something also went wrong. My cute car named Birdie had several breakdowns. Each time the engine lost power and quit in the middle of the highway.
Okay, Birdie.
With the car breakdown, I also got my first mental breakdown in New Zealand. It was my first panic attack in a month, and that made me sad. In the beginning of the video I said that I'm very emotional. In positive moments it can inspire a whole group, but in negative moments it is the opposite. These car breakdowns felt like I was going financially bankrupt, and this even though the car was only a small financial risk. In my head the whole thing looked so much more dramatic. Thanks to Michael's positive and easygoing nature, I got out of this hole. I don't know why I am the way I am. In the past I didn't like myself because of this. Today I see this sensitivity as a power. I just have to learn to deal with it better.
Oh my god! Yeah!
And there was also something positive. The man who sold me the car paid the half of the repair. New Zealand is just different. I've got my energy back and we arrived at our last big adventure as a group. We are going to climb the Mount Taranaki. This time we split up as a group because Manon and Marcel wanted to do a less dangerous hike. Michael and I were absolutely hyped and ready for the summit hike.
10 hours in 6. We'll make it at 6.
The Mount Taranaki is located in the Egmont National Park. It is a 1600 meter elevation hike where you end up standing at over 2500 meters. People say this is probably one of the hardest hikes in all of New Zealand. On this day we had, let's say, interesting weather conditions. A strange cloud was circling at the top and we had 65 km per hour wind forces. After the last successful hike, I had tasted blood and I really wanted to do this hike. Maybe I underestimated it a little bit.
Absolutely not. No. Let's do it.
The first kilometers were still easy. At some point it started to get very steep and in combination with the wind, it was crazy challenging. The first challenge was a gravel path, where you sometimes took 1 step forward and 2 steps back. This was followed by a stone path, where we just had to climb.
What the fuck?
Here I began to have great respect for the hike, because I felt the danger for the first time. Because of the elevation it was getting colder and colder. Of course we had no good equipment at all, so we had to use socks as gloves.
Only 700, what did it call? High meters?
Altitude.
What?
Altitude.
Altitude left?
Although the weather conditions were not good, the atmosphere was magical. It was unique to stand in the middle of a rotating cloud and just to live in the moment. After we reached the top half frozen, there was of course no view. We still enjoyed our peanut butter sandwiches and took the way down.
He's freezing.
Yeah.
Okay, way back down. Hopefully we are not going to die.
Once we reached the bottom, we both were more than happy. I felt like now I can achieve everything in my life.
We did it!
And with this great finish, it was already time to say goodbye to my group.
Every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, where I long to be. See the light
So we all went separate ways. Michael went back to Australia, while Manon and Marcel traveled together to the East Coast, and I drove to Raglan. Thank you guys really much for this awesome time. I will never forget it. So what happened next? I drove all the way to Raglan because so many people had recommended it to me. I didn't film anything over there because it didn't feel right, but I have a couple of pictures. Actually, I wanted to stay there only for 3 days. In the end, it was a week. It was a mix of sleeping under the stars, surfing, and chilling in the hot tub. Without expecting it, it was one of my favorite places in all of New Zealand. Before I took my ferry to the South Island, I spent a couple of days in Wellington. And it was so cool because I met 3 people from Raglan in Wellington. It was a nice ending for my 2 months North Island road trip. This is also the end of my video. This video was meant to reflect my emotional journey. So what have I learned? The trip in the North Island taught me 3 things. I want to be free and independent as much as possible. The drama is often all in my head. Most of the time it isn't bad at all. When I'm truly myself, it has a positive effect on those around me. In addition, Fabienne opened up the camping life to me, and Michael showed me how to enjoy hiking. Thank you really much for it. So I got some answers, but also many new questions. Who am I? Where do I want to go? And what do I want to do? I know these are difficult questions that all of us have, but this is the first time that I'm really asking them seriously. The South Island should hold more answers for me, so it is time for a new adventure. Thank you really much for watching this video. Actually, all of my videos are just here to make sure that great memories don't disappear. If you're interested, this is the route that I drove in 2 months in the North Island. Just wow. I would have loved to see the Coromandel area, but because of a cyclone it was not possible to go there. One more reason to come back. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. The journey always goes on. We say goodbye. Mwah.